Thanks for coming out to Mayor's Night Out for October 2017. I want to thank Juan Almanza, the owner of the Galaxy Hall. Can we give him a big round of applause? Thank you very much, sir. Beautiful, beautiful hall. You've done a great job. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and introduce 6th District Councilman Scott Rakos. Let's give him a big warm applause.
Hello, everybody. A year ago, I had my first ever Mayor's Night Out in my district, and at 6 o'clock, we started early at 6 o'clock because at 6:10 the Cubs World Series game was starting, and I started talking about the donation boxes, and everybody looked at me like, "Are you ready? Are you done?" So this year we got no World Series game going on, and if we did, I wouldn't be all that interested in the first, I just wanted to start out saying this will be my second year. I've gotten really involved even before I became councilman in a group called HC3, which I wrote it down because I always forget what the name of it is. It's the Hessville Commerce and Community Creative Corporation. It's a 501c3 group. And the reason I mention this is because we found that when we bring in community groups and organizations, we can really accomplish a lot in the community. In April, we had our first successful Hessville cleanup with Morton students and athletes, coaches, with volunteers, and we cleaned up from Kennedy from 165th to Hessville Park, and we had over 50 people participated. The committee for the Live in the Ville had already started by that time. They started to turn a festival that 2 years ago was 4 Saturdays into a more successful festival Live in the Ville that took place on June 9th, 10th, and 11th. Dozens of food trucks and vendor booths, live bands, beer tents, car shows, reptile show, kids play area dance troops. That was all part of it, and it really well. Everybody I know that went to it said it went really well. This was actually the third time for the Live in the Ville, but almost nobody knew about the first one, right? Another project I was proud to support and be part of was the beautification projects on Kennedy and Martha, right down the street here, and along Kennedy Avenue at Hessville Park. They have benches and tables, and soon there's going to be some really nice structures. And soon there's going to be some really nice structures there as well that everybody can really be proud of. This project was brought in because of administration and public works, casino funds, the Legacy Foundation, private contributions, and many private people's talents. A couple of weeks ago, we pulled off another Hessville cleanup. This time more volunteers, including Home Depot and the principal of Scott Middle School, and more students from Scott School and Morton High School. We worked our way north from Freddy's Steakhouse to the Idle Hour, all the way south to the Expressway. Then they went to Grand Avenue to clean up around the schools as well. I just want to mention some of the people that were involved in that because this is a community type thing, and that's what I found. When we bring in a community, our tax dollars go further, and we can really, bring in something nice into the community. For the HC3 Fall Cleanup, we had Cakes by Karen, Fried Donuts, CR Publications printed up and donated signs. Dance Connections opened up their studio for the luncheon. Domino's and House of Pizza gave us a whole lot of pizza for all the kids and everybody there. Freddy's Steakhouse, like I said, opened up its restaurant to the parking lot. Home Depot, I cannot say enough about Home Depot. Their Hammond and Sherville locations donated supplies for the cleanup, coupons to purchase cooler, and they also came out to volunteer with people from their stores. They actually supervised the kids. The first cleanup we had didn't go as well as we wanted because we didn't have quite enough adult volunteers to watch the kids. We had enough kids, but this time it was really well. Van Tills donated water. I can't say enough about Debbie Lukin. She headed the cleanup. She's a athletic director at Morton High School. They donated supplies and any kind of drinks. Amy Radilak, who's been who we found out is she's somebody that really wants to get involved in her community and shows it, you know. I really appreciate her too. Miss Bergen, I mentioned, the principal of Scott School, she was able to utilize a school city bus to help transport the kids. She took the kids first of all the way down north, and then they started on the off the expressway, and then she took them over by school to help them clean up their own school. So I just wanted to point that out because it was very well done. In my second year, I've gotten to know a lot of the people up here better, and they also got to know me as well. I'm sure I'm more impressed with them than they are with me, but I am so grateful for the help of this administration. I really am. I'm also very impressed with the new fire station, Kevin, on Parish. And I met some citizens and public works people in early spring with a vision to turn an empty field on 173rd to a park the community could be proud of. Once the mayor got on board, a little later on, and we started out with a Girls on the Run youth program, and trees were planted with help of the Home Depot volunteers. The city's second dog park is now on the east side of that park, and a younger children playground equipment is already in our garages and ready to be installed there. Quarter-mile walking track is already in place around the perimeter of the park, and some parking spots will be going in along 173rd pretty soon. And I can't say enough about the mayor and the city has come together to turn something that really had nothing we've done with for so long, and it's turned into a really nice park. I really like doing that too. And I'd like to mention the sponsors from the park too, if I could. Advantage Signs and Printing donated the shirts for the Girls on the Run. Allen's Landscaping in Highlands discounted trees and donated a tree. Anderson Auto Parts donated perennials. BMO Harris donated grocery bags. Border Magic of Northwest Indiana donated the border around the border which commemorates the Girls on the Run. Concrete Design Studios donated and volunteered. Don's Landscaping in Highland. Mr. and Mrs. Downing provided water and electric for everybody. Fritz Enterprise donated to landscaping. Girls on the Run Northwest Indiana office monetary donation. Hammond Parks Department purchased frames for the benches. Hammond Public Works put together installed benches, prepared the park for the project. You guys really did a great job. Thank you again. Home Depot donated concrete, wood for benches, perennials, trees, and had the team out to volunteer. House of Pizza also donated pizzas that day. Jewel donated water. Mr. and Mrs. Martin Popigan gave a gift. NIPSCO, $500 for trees, and Save a Lot. Other projects during the year, using my casino money, $10,000 worth of sidewalk improvements with the help of the mayor, some new roads surfacing, curbs on Parish, new roads and surfacing, excuse me, I'm a little nervous, I don't know. On Parish from 165th north to the Gibson Woods, and also from Grand Avenue from 173rd to the railroad tracks. Lighting projects on Montana from 165th to 169th completed last spring. Also have Idaho and Illinois will be getting started. They've already been engineered. We weren't sure exactly how our new program to save energy was going to go, so we waited till the end. But Idaho and Illinois from 65th to 69th will be going in towards the end of the year. I'm looking towards 2018, working with engineering to resurface the streets that need it the most. They have a list that I can use. I obviously believe in improving parks in the 6th District whenever possible, possibly updating Gibson and Frommer Park with the help of community groups and with the casino money. Hessville Park has a major revamp coming from the city using park bonds. There's if anybody gets a chance to look at it, basically what it looks like over there is in a diagram over there. It is really nice, significant money to be done, and it will turn our park into something that's a little more modern, a little more something that the community can be proud of using, using park bonds and with the help, like I said, of the mayor. Lighting projects at least $1 million a year for the next 2 years that we'll be doing it. NIPSCO will also be upgrading their lights to LED. One thing everybody wants lights. Almost everybody wants lights. I would have to be in my 70s on this council to give everybody lights that wants lights and that needs lights, and I don't think I can do that. Right now, I try to do where crime situations have happened, but we all fall victims to some kind of thing. But we are making plans and trying to do the best we can. Like I said, at least for the next 2 years, I plan to put $1 million a year towards that. And NIPSCO will also be brightening up their lights too, so that'll be good. I'm going to continue to work through HC3 to improve the business community on Kennedy throughout Hessville. I also work with the HUGS committee, it's Hispanics United for Government Services, to improve the Mexican Independence Day Parade and Festival. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see it, but that was the first time this year. It was an amazing parade and a festival, and I could not have been more impressed. And I got to tell you, I drove through the parade, and then I let everybody park. I went home for a little while and came back, and I parked over by the pool. And I walked through it, and after I stayed for a while and met with the people and given out some awards and stuff, I started walking through the park, and this is in September, and I noticed, the park was being really well used, but, with the improvements that we plan, what we have planned to replace the pool could be used for a much longer time, and I really think everybody will enjoy it. I want you to know I'm very bullish on Hessville. I'm here to stay, and I look forward to showcasing Hessville as a place to stay and be proud of. Excuse me.
Hey, Scott. All right, let's go ahead and get Mayor's Night Out started. I want to remind everybody how this works. This is basically the entire agenda is going to be up to you. You fill out a questionnaire in the back of the room. Eileen and Jill, can you guys raise your hand? We have the written questions. All of you ask the question, we answer it. If I can't answer it myself, I have a department here who could answer it for you. Sometimes it's in particular, like if it concerns like a single resident and it's starting to take a lot of time, sometimes we'll ask you to come back at the end of the show and go up and talk to that department head so we can handle it. If it's like a one-on-one type of issue, if it's more of a community concern, obviously we'll talk about them out loud. Let's say we're talking about the South Shore Rail Line. If you have a question, the written question is about the South Shore and we're answering it. If you have a question about the South Shore, raise your hand. Donna will come up to you. Donna, could you raise your hand? Donna will come up to you with the microphone. Can you wait until the microphone gets there? Because Jake is filming this all. Right now it's on Go Hammond TV, and it's archived on Go Hammond TV as well, so if you want to watch it again. All right? So we'll go ahead and introduce the department heads, and then we'll talk about Hessville Park right off the bat. So let's go ahead and get it started.
Ed First, Hammond Water.
Oh, my bad. Wrong side.
Marty Wilgus, Hammond Sanitary District.
Kurt Cook, Building.
Owana Miller, Community Development.
Chris Cantar, Legal Department. Africa Harbor, Planning and Development.
Mylan Krasinski, Port Authority.
Ann Anderson, Economic Development.
Phil Talon, Chief of Staff.
Scott Rakos, 6th District Councilman.
John Doty, Hammond Police Department.
Mark Gordish, Hammond Engineering.
Ron Novak, Environmental.
Brian Poland, City Planning.
Mark Heinz, Parks and Recreation.
Heather Gray, City Controller.
Sharon Daniels, Personnel and College Bound.
Joe Medwitz, Public Works.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance.
Jaime Prieto, Code Enforcement. Kelly Kearney, Inspections Department.
Dennis Radowski, United Neighborhoods, Inc.
Kevin Margraf, Hammond Fire Department.
Carmen Paniagua, Housing Authority.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Donna Muda, Special Events.
Okay. Do I love Hessville? Does my administration support Hessville? I want to start off. As a lawyer in law school, they taught you never ask a question without knowing the answer first. Do me a favor. If you're from Hessville, my department heads, raise your hand. Oh, we're doing all right. There you go. So The best thing we could do for any part of the city is to hire residents from that part of the city to work for the city. If we're from Hessville, if we love Hessville, I'm from the Woodmar section of Hammond, okay? Real close to Hessville, I go through Hessville every day of my life. But if you want to take care of a part of the neighborhood, you hire people from that. So if you're driving through your neighborhood and you see something wrong, for instance, Jack Smith, he's like, you know, he's the head of the sewage department in Hammond, and he's also a neighborhood enforcer. So when you have people like Jack that work for the city and they see things going wrong, you take care of business, all right? So anyway, we're here in Hessville. One of the first issues Councilman brought up was a proposal we have for Hessville Park, which is over here. Once you guys get done, the issue is the swimming pool. If we're not going to have a swimming pool anymore, if we're going to go a different direction, what would we like to replace it with? So we have some ideas. Mark Hines, can you raise your hand? Mark Hines from South Hammond. Mark is going to be able to talk to you after the meeting about your ideas over there. The idea that's being talked about is a splash pad that would be not like the one we have in Robertsdale where you pay to get in. This would be one where you just walk in, basically, and it's on. Advantages for us is, first off, we know that a lot more people use it than a swimming pool proper. Secondly, we know that you know, we'll get tons more visits. We don't have to have the staffing. We don't have to have the lifeguards on duty and things like that. So these are all proposals. We want you to go over there and take a look after the meeting if you don't mind. We could talk about the Hessville pool during the meeting. Mark, why don't you go over there and be Vanna White for us and show us a little bit of, you don't have to be Vanna. I mean, you can be whoever you want, actually, but why don't you show us a little bit of what we're talking about? Donna, could you get the microphone for
Sure.
for Mark? Sure.
Mike right behind.
All right. We have, I know this is hard to see, and again, probably the easiest way for everyone to come and see it up here in the front as we wind the evening down. But basically, we have the idea of this, the pools would be replaced with an interactive fountain. You're starting to see these throughout the country. It's not as kiddie as what a splash pad or spray ground, as a lot of them are called, similar to what's up at Wolf Lake. That's kind of geared more towards younger kids. This is really potentially for all ages where you could have that available. It's in a plaza type of setting where you would have the a lot of concrete. You'd have seating areas so people can go there and just enjoy water. Water is always an attraction anywhere. Rivers, lakes. That's no different. To a certain degree, nothing more. Not to the level of something like Millennium Park downtown Chicago, but interactive water is one of the things that would be leading the charge here at this particular site. We also looked at the rest of the whole site itself. There's a plan to put in a walking path circling around. So walking right now is the number one thing that we've done in our parks citywide with all the pathways that mayor and the city council have gone forward and putting in. They've been very well received everywhere. It's really the number one demand anytime any kind of survey's out. That's something that we want to continue, making everything walkable, getting through there. Parking, Hessville Park is that neighborhood park where really a lot of people do come together. We have a lot of events there. The Hugs pageant concluded there this year with the parade, and parking is something that's definitely sorely needed there. So we did look at expanding parking. We looked at expanding the skate park area because that's been very successful there. Upgrading the shelter. The playground we're going to look into if we can put in, we just put in a new playground there about a year and a half ago, but we're going to look at try to put in the spongy, what they call the poured in place surfacing, which is rather than the wood chips that's under a lot of playgrounds. So that's something else to clean it up to make it a lot neater. Also because you really don't want that wood chips kind of being tracked into your fountain area, which would be nearby as well. That kind of is a brief rundown of everything here. There's a couple smaller things that we would also do, just kind of cleaning up the drainage. You guys, many of you, if anyone's involved with the Babe Ruth field that's out there, you go down 173rd. After a decent amount of rain, you see a lot of water, standing water out in left field of that baseball field. We want to look at taking care of those kinds of issues at the same thing. So some other infrastructure issues as well at the same time, since we'll be out there doing an active construction area.
Thank you, Mark. Let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit and see if you have any questions. The idea was this. We had 4 outdoor public pools in the city of Hammond. Every year, because of the dwindling membership, the dwindling numbers that would go to the pool, we would lose more opening the 4 pools than we would ever lose at the Festival of the Lakes every year. Over 6 figures every year, just keeping the pools open. You'd go by on a hot summer day and there'd be literally 3 or 4 kids in the pool with lifeguards, and we have to have, we have to have it heated, we have to put the chemicals in. Most of these pools were built in the 1950s. I think the newest pool is MLK, right, Mark? Correct. 74, if I remember? 78, okay? In the 50s, when was Hessville Pool built? 54. 1954 versus 2017 America. We have air conditioning in the homes. We have, a lot of us have pools in our backyard. If it's not an in-ground pool, it's an above-ground pool, things that are different. A lot of things are different between 1954 and 2017, but definitely how, we go in pools and whether we go to public pools is one of them. So the idea was, how many pools do we need in the city of Hammond? We're going through this debate right now with the Hammond City Council. One of the things about Hammond also is the opening of the Munster Pool sort of changed the game in South Hammond. Edison Pool, which is a little pocket pool, and Hessville Pool, a lot of the people that would normally go to those pools now go to Munster. It's got water slides, all kinds of really bells and whistles. So the idea was this: if we aren't going to have a pool in a park, we want to be able to do something to that park to make up for the pool. And this is the idea at Hessville Park. We worked real closely with Councilman Rakos. A lot of what is built into that was his recommendation, and we're bouncing it off of you. This is not a finished product. We want to talk to you and get your ideas. Maybe you have a better idea than we do. So, does anybody have any input about that issue? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was thinking, there's an area over there that's an ice skating rink.
Yeah, you're right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Hi, you're live on Go Hammond TV. There's 4 people watching.
Anyway, we got a sandy base here, right? So it never holds water. And somebody turns the water on.
Oh, yeah.
at the beginning of the year, and it just goes straight through the ground and
I got you.
never turns into. And I haven't seen the plan or anything like that, but.
I'm not sure if the ice is built into that or not, Mark.
Correct. And we have those in a lot of our parks citywide, and we're just not getting the winter temperatures that much to freeze it as what used to be done many years ago. Even at Pulaski, where we have a designated area with specifically for ice, it takes a lot of work, and Councilman Kalinske.
We have the man of
personally
the
does a
ice
lot
here,
of that.
actually. Councilman
Right.
Mark, could you get a microphone? This is Councilman Mark Kowinski from Hammond's 1st District. He is an avid ice hockey fan. He played ice hockey for the Mohawks. He is the man of ice in Pulaski Park. This guy, I don't even know what he does in real life anymore. I know when it's cold out, he's literally maintaining the ice at all times. Councilman, could you add a little bit to this conversation?
Sure, thank you, Mayor.
And he's got the long beard that gets all icy. It's really cool.
For hockey enthusiasts, it's a passion. So I grew up playing for the Mohawks, and we had to take care of our own rink and make our own ice and keep it clean and keep it fresh, water it, and et cetera. A lot of hours into making good ice if you have to make it out of weather. We do it at Pulaski, and it's weather dependent. Sometimes we get several weeks. Last year we had about 10 days, if that, and then it was hit or miss. The year before, we had ice until March. So you are just, at the mercy of the weather. Now, we did some things to make it user-friendly and work-friendly. We blacktopped the bottom. We put some pond hockey boards around it so we could put about 9 to 10 inches of water in there to get a good hard freeze, and then we could maintain it. We had a park tractor converted to a Zamboni. We bought hoses. We started out with old fire hoses that really leaked a lot, and we went to newer hoses, and that helped, lighter ones. We've got a skate sharpener. We hope to have skate sharpening this year, and if things go well for next year, we'll start skate rentals there too. But it's a large investment in money. We put a plastic liner in the pond to keep water from leaving, like you were saying, and then you have to maintain it. You have to keep water in it. You have to keep people off of it until it's hard enough. So we're getting a fence around it this year to kind of help with that, because sometimes young people want to test the ice before it's ready, or others want to throw cartons from the store in it, and it'll freeze. And it's a vigilant operation if you're going to have good ice, and oftentimes there's little return because of the weather. But for when we do have ice, we have a hot house, we have lights, we have music. And we have skate sharpening, and next year we'll have rentals too.
Thanks, Councilman.
All right.
Appreciate it. A lot of work goes into it, and Councilman is literally a one-man show in Pulaski Park. We are working on the ice issues for this part of the city. I think you'd be surprised at how close we are to being able to announce something, but I would be blowing it if I announced it right now or talked about it, okay? But we're really working on this issue. It'd be more of a year-round operation, okay? So, any other, Councilman Mark mentioned something about the ice season is getting shorter. A lot of the decision-making regarding the pool, let's think about our swim season here in the region. If you're, when we open our pools, Mark, when do we first open our pools?
Middle of June usually.
Middle of June, because the kids are still in school until like June 10th or.
Right.
So those are our lifeguards in many cases, the kids that are in school. So when they get out of school, they're looking for jobs, so we hire them. So mid-June, I'm a baseball coach. I know a lot of people in here are baseball coaches. You don't always have the nicest weather in June. It's usually starting to finally turn at that point to becoming swim weather. Obviously, through July, through August, our kids are going back to school now on August 10th, which is ridiculous, by the way, but we don't run the schools. So you're literally talking about 7 or 8 weeks. And for 7 or 8 weeks, the amount of money we were losing and the lack, and the dwindling numbers of people that were going to our 4 public pools made us decide, how many pools do we need? Do we need 0? Do we need 1? Do we need 2? Do we need 3? Do we need 4? Just like a lot of households, we're looking at cutting our budget. I want to remind people, and I know the council is aware of this, in 2 years, we have tax caps taking full effect in Lake County. In 2 years, which means we're projected to lose, Heather, another $5 million a year? I try to think 5, okay? 5 to 8, let's hope it's closer to 5. Still, $5 million out of a tight budget. And everybody loves 211 police officers, just like I do. Everybody loves 155 firemen, just like I do. That's 75% of my budget, okay? So the other 25% is in front of you. It's a tough job, okay? Council is aware of what's going on, just like we are, and we're on it, but, we're looking for ways to cut already. So, in fact, I'd like to introduce the council members. First off, 1st District Councilman Mark Lewinsky. Thanks for coming out, Councilman. 4th District Councilman Bill Emerson. Thanks, Councilman. I took a leap of faith you were here. I hadn't seen you yet. So, 5th District Councilman Dave Warple. Thank you very much, Councilman. Your 6th District Councilman Scott Rakos. The Council President, Councilwoman at Large Janet Venez. Councilman at Large Bob Markovich. Councilman at Large Dan Spitali. And Hessville's very own City Clerk Robert Golick. I think I got everybody. Did I miss any elected officials? All right. So,
Mayor,
yeah.
if I can add one other thing.
Hey, Marty.
Sorry. Not only does the city lose $5 million in 2020, the sewer department loses $2 million on top of that.
Right.
That just goes away.
Yeah. In addition to a lot of costs that are coming your way.
That's exactly
because
right.
of the mandates coming from the federal government. So,
All right.
right. So anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. So, we done talking about pools? Because I am if you are. This is a tough conversation. Tougher in other parts of the city as compared to Hessville. I think Hessville, if we could all agree on what Hessville Park should look like, I could guarantee it's going to happen within a year. It'll be done. That's my goal. We got the money identified, where it's going to come from, and we're ready to move. If you're going to lose a pool, I think something should replace that pool right away. If Hessville, I want to congratulate your councilman who came up early, had some great ideas, and we incorporated them into our plan. I think Hessville Park's the closest park to where I live. I know Hessville Park's the closest park to where I live. So I don't live in Hessville, but this is my park also. I think it's wonderful what we're talking about. So, and my son would kill me. Tommy goes to the skateboard park regularly. He would kill me if we didn't at least improve upon what we have there, which is, I think, the best skateboard park in the city. So, anyway, let's move forward. Donna, like I said, if you want to prolong, if you want to direct the conversation, go to the back of the room and fill out a questionnaire. Donna will grab it and read it off word for word. We like to have your address only because we can follow it up with you. Like if you have a code enforcement issue or something, I'll give it to Jaime, and then it'll have your name and address on there, and then Jaime will follow it up directly with you. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started.
Good evening, Mayor. Just a couple police issues. The
That's
first
good, we got the
one,
chief of police here, that's all good.
the first one is regarding Illinois license plates. People who live here, drive around with Illinois plates, something needs to be done. The Hammond police appear to have no control.
Good. Well, before the chief jumps in, I want to point out that we have an app for smartphones. I imagine most of the people in here have a smartphone. It's called C-Click Fix. Chris, you want to talk a little bit about C-Click Fix? And then we'll get to the chief in a second.
Yeah, we have a app that's available for the Android or iOS. Or
What's that app called?
C-Click Fix. Hammond 311.
Thank you.
There you go. You can download it, put it on your phone. It's really easy to use. Uses GPS, so it can pinpoint where you are to tell us where the problem is. You can submit a photo, and it's really nice because it comes to us and it's sorted and it goes to the right department. So if you're putting something in like reciprocity, it goes to the right department under the police department. Streetlight outage, it's taken care of. You don't have to worry about where does this go, how do we take care of it. We're just going to fix it for you. C-Click Fix.
Chris, the other day I'm driving out of my house, going to church, like a good boy on Sunday, and we passed in my neighborhood a car that parked its car right on the grass. Like, not even close to the curb, it's just like they said, forget about it. They literally pulled on the grass. And Marissa is driving by, and I'm driving by like, are you kidding me? And I'm like trying to get in my Sunday frame of mind, but I stopped my car, and I got out, I walked up to it, and they were looking through the window at me. I took a picture of it, I got in the car, I put in a complaint, and within a half hour, there was a police officer there giving him a ticket. And they left their car there, by the way, until the officer came, at which time they pulled their car onto the street and parked it and said they were filing a complaint against the officer that gave them a ticket. But it works. As soon as I submitted that picture, they knew exactly by the geocoding on the picture where it was. I put the address in anyway. They knew it was the mayor too, so maybe that was why they were a little bit quicker, but nonetheless, it's a great tool. Everybody could use it. It goes right to the right place. So, Chief, we always get reciprocity questions about the Illinois plates.
Okay, it's one of the biggest routine complaints we get across the city. I've been out here to the Orchard Drive school myself, several of the other schools out here with my guys. Truly, the best way for you to report it is through the app that was just mentioned by Chris and the mayor. It goes straight to community affairs. They're the guys that read ours every morning. They're the guys that handle reciprocity in the city. Those complaints go directly to them, so it's automatically going to the right place. Please, you have to be a little patient on it. If you get us a complaint, we always respond. We always get on it. We have 2 officers that work reciprocity full-time. That's what they do, so they will get to it. It's an arduous process, to say the least. We have to deal with the court. We have to give them a time frame to get it right. Then we have to prove that their residency is not here. We have to prove that to the judge, you know, and so there's a lot of steps and hurdles in between. Plus the judge says, you know, you got to wait 30 days after you write the ticket and then go write them another one. So there are some steps just required by the court, but I promise you we're always on it. We don't ignore it. We have guys on it full time, and if you get it to us through 311, we will address it for you. I promise.
I'm confident that if we put 10 police officers on this, they would be busy every day of their lives. This is the kind of issue that's always there. We live on the state line. Their licenses are way cheaper than our licenses, so people are going to always try to get the best deal. And then they drive around our city, and it makes you crazy, just like it makes me crazy. Okay? I just want you to know that, you know, we have 211 Hammond police officers. The chief just told you he has 2 working full-time on this, pretty much. But, like, at a certain point, that's important to enforce those, but at the same time, having those officers driving around our neighborhoods is a lot more important, you know, and if you're a patrol officer, you're not going to stop and write those types of tickets. So anyway, great question. Anybody have any follow-up on that? So we talked about Hammond 311 and how you could report a lot of things yourself, graffiti, code enforcement issues. A lot of people are doing snow removal, stuff like that, right? Snow removal, leaf pickup. Right. What's your most common complaint?
It depends on the season. During the summer, it's yard pickup,
Yeah, large item pickup. Chris he's the IT guy. You see every complaint that comes through, right? So what if somebody complains about you directly? Does that ever make its way to me? It's like a check? It's crazy. All right, good answer. All right, let's go ahead and get to the next question.
Next up, Mayor, I requested a residential parking across the street from Lou Wallace. It was approved, but the signs have not been put up, and we are having problems with parents parking and leaving their cars there all day.
Attorney Cantar, could you grab that? What's the process for this? Is it just a Board of Works action, or is it an ordinance, or?
We receive a request, it goes through the Board of Works. If it's approved, it's sent to the street department. The signs are always put up on a temporary basis in case people decide that they didn't want it, and then it's followed up with an ordinance.
Okay, well, I got two members of the Board of Works here. You guys know anything about this? Heather, Kevin?
Do you remember this one? Did
Well,
we-
nice.
This one referred
That's
to,
outstanding.
we always refer it to the street department just to test it out to make sure it's a valid request. And then as Chris said, they will put up the temporary signage. Do you know if we're at the stage of permanent now on this one?
I'm not sure the stage, I mean, this is something we approved probably within the last 2 weeks. So
Okay.
However fast Gary's people work on this, I'm really not sure, but.
It's great
we're
how
aware
things
of it.
work. See, this is the great thing about Mayor's Night. You get a question like this, if you asked me normally, I'd be like, I have no idea. But I got two members of the Board of Works here. Attorney Cantar tells me how the process goes down, and guess who's here? Joey Medwitz from Hessville, who's representing Gary Gleason right now. Joey, how's it going? You know that quote saying about something rolling downhill? It's me. I'm sure it'll go to somebody else next.
Like they said, it's got to go in front of the Board of Works first, and then as of right now, I think they still do the temporary for, I believe it's
Okay.
30 days. Then after that, I think it comes back in front of you guys again, then it would be permanent.
Cool. Awesome. So, anybody want to follow that up? Sounds like the process is working. It just hasn't gotten up yet. Hi.
Yes, I'm the one that put the request in because
ma'am.
we have problems with parents parking their cars there, leaving them there all day. You can only park on one side of the street because you park across the street, you're going to get a ticket.
Gotcha.
So if I run to the store and come back, I can't park in front of my house.
I gotcha.
I got to drag my groceries from down the street.
That's not
Everybody doesn't have a driveway. Everybody doesn't have garages. And I'm the one that asked for the request.
Great.
And another thing
I'm
I'd
glad
like
you're
to
here.
know,
Could I interrupt you real
so
quick?
when,
Can
what?
I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
We got to make this happen, it sounds like, right?
Right. Most definitely.
Now
I understand
when-
your predicament.
Okay, so I went across.
We're gonna, I mean, it's not delayed, we have a lot of things going, but I think hearing your plea makes the case that I can totally understand. Parents are picking up their kids, they park in your parking spot, you know, I love
No, I can see them picking up and dropping off children.
it. Mm-hmm.
But during the day, different times, they'll
Gotcha.
come and they'll park in front of your house and they'll be gone for hours.
We'll take care of this, I promise.
Okay.
Okay, you got anything else?
Yeah, can I finish talking?
Sure.
I just want to say that the reason why I asked for that is because I had some work done in my house and didn't have anywhere for the people to park. And there was a couple of ladies that would come, I don't know where they live, but every day they would park a couple of doors down, pull all their buggies out with the kids in it, and they'll be gone for hours. And I didn't have anywhere for the people to park, so I went across the street, I spoke with the principal, and she said she was gonna do a robocall, whatever, but it lasted for like a minute. So they're still doing it. And another thing I wanna know is when they do put the signs up, how's everybody that live on that block gonna know that it's residential parking? Because when I went to City Hall, the lady told me that once the signs go up, you have to go down to the police department and get the stickers for your cars. So how are the people on the block gonna know that, because I'm definitely going down and get my stickers.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, there's a little bit of miscommunication, I think, sometimes, and maybe this is a good place to air it on this side. A councilman does what he's supposed to do to satisfy the residents, and it's approved by the Board of Works. Sometimes the information doesn't get out to the public that you do need to come and see us and get passes for your house and visitor parking for your house when you have a guest over. We do have those items available at the police department. I don't know if the first two steps, if a flyer is sent to you by your councilman or from the Board of Works, I don't know. Because those instructions don't come from the police department because we're the last ones to know. Usually I know when I drive down the street and I see it go up, or a copy of the ordinance comes across our desk. That's how we know. And so I don't know what's being sent out, if anything, to the residents.
All right, thank you, ma'am. We're on it, okay? Thank you for showing up. This is how it's supposed to work. Hey, this is crazy. I got a Facebook submitted question. There's
Sweet.
people actually watching. This is crazy. I'm going to read it off, unless it's a bad one. Mayor Tom, are you ever going to do something about the flooding on Calumet Avenue by the Lost Marsh Golf Course? And thank you for keeping our town beautiful. All right. I should have never read this one. All right. Who's standing in for the engineer today? Mark Gordish. How you doing, Mark? You ever going to do anything about the flooding on Calumet Avenue by the Lost Marsh Golf Course?
Actually, it's funny because in our department, I live in the Hessel area. Dean lives up in, he's the city engineer, up in Robertsdale, and he drives Calumet Avenue and notices the issue. We did check into that. It is a state highway, but hopefully 129th Street, we do have a sewer in Sheffield, so there was an idea going back and forth of trying to get the state under a cooperative project of us trying to take care of that situation. The ditch line is cleaned by the state, and there's just not any drainage over there in that particular area.
Jack, you're going to stand up. You're going to have to stand up. Either sit on Joey's lap. I mean, it's one or the other.
Hey, thank you. We were out there about a month and a half ago, and we dredged the 2 whole blocks from the entrance of the golf course all the way to Calumet Avenue. We're not allowed to...
On 129th?
On 129th.
Right.
When it comes to state highway, that's up to the state to take care of that, or IDEM.
Right.
That's not ours.
So what's going on here is when we get the heavy rains on Calumet Avenue, they have the drainage ditches, and they get clogged where it goes underneath. And when it clogs up, it just floods, and it spills onto the street, and then it freezes. And you got an ice skating rink at 129th and Calumet. Happens all the time. We get blamed for it because it's Hammond, and that's that's our job. But it's frustrating for us because we can't control what NDOT does or doesn't do. So we're aware of what's going on, and yeah, I wish we were in charge of our own destiny on this, but we're just gonna have to keep on working on NDOT, making sure they clean out the culverts. So, Mark, is that accurate?
Absolutely, and if we can tie into our sewer on Sheffield, but the cost is there, and unfortunately, it's an isolated area. We like to try to keep it safe, and actually during the winter and so forth, it gets bad because we do have rainstorms during the winter. It freezes the next day 20 degrees.
Mhm.
So we are aware of it. We may try to submit that as a project for federal aid, so that might be forthcoming.
Thank you. And that's something the police department's aware of. That's something the Public Works is aware of. This is something we're used to. It's just part of our job. So, anyway, great question, Facebook person. So, all right, let's go to the next one, Donna.
It's very cool. We should
It
do
is
more
cool.
of that.
I didn't even know we could do that.
Me neither.
I think Ray texted it to me. Where's Ray? Thank you, Ray. If we get another one, do that again.
Mayor, thank you for the improvements to the 165th Street Fire Station number 8.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? All right, thank you. Kevin, you want to talk a little bit about our new firehouse?
We've got a new firehouse. No.
Beautiful, too.
No, really. It's, there's nobody on the fire department today that's been around since we've had a new one built.
The newest one is Station 1, right?
1979 was the last fire station that was built in town.
It's always nice when you do something for the first
And
time.
so the stars just lined up. This was something that was talked about in 2008, and the economy went sour, and then it was forgotten about. And with the TIF district that was created in the Hessville area, this idea came back around, and 6350 Parish Avenue is the new fire station number 8.
It's beautiful, too. Yeah,
It
I
is.
love it.
It worked out. It looks really, really nice.
What are you able to do in the new firehouse that you couldn't do in the old Station 8? It's not a loaded question. It's like we could keep extra rigs there. It's like a
No,
leading
I
question.
mean, yeah, we do have the capability of keeping a spare engine and spare ambulance there instead
Right.
of, guys having to go to fire station number 1 to get the spares.
Which is important
there's
because
a
we're
little
on-
bit more storage. Obviously, things are more modern. Kitchen's a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Kitchen's really nice, actually. And it's just gives those guys over there something to really look forward to. The guys working there, they really enjoy it.
Good.
It's really a big plus for Hessville and the city, quite frankly.
Awesome. Hey, Africa, could you talk a little bit about I'm doing a really good job of keeping my department heads on their toes today. So can you talk a little bit about the Oxbow TIF district and how that built this firehouse?
Yes, from the allocation area in the Oxbow landing section, from the development that took place, we were able to use funds from that to help fund the fire station because it services that allocation area. So because it provided public safety and it services the allocation area, we were able to use funding.
So basically, the BW3s, the 2 new hotels.
Correct. All the
brewery.
development that took place, the BW3s, the brewery, the office build, well, not as much the office building right now because it just was built. But yes, from the development that took place in that area, we were
All
able
the
to.
increment in property taxes over there is paying for the debt on the firehouse.
Correct. So it's really a smart way to finance a public safety project.
So we're starting to take these successful developments like that and expand them to other parts of the city and be able to do things like the firehouse, you know, because the firehouse, if we had a fire in Oxbow, it'd be Station 8 that responded. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Go ahead.
Senior disabled tax credit, Mayor.
Awesome.
As a senior and disabled, as well as taking care of my mother and father and a lifelong Hessville resident, I have received a check from you for $500 in the past, except this year it's a weird amount for $83.78.
Right.
Not looking a gift horse in the mouth, but why the strange amount?
Probably because your property taxes are lower than $500, but I'm going to defer to the expert on this. First off, what this question is asking about is the senior and disabled tax credit. We've been doing this, I believe, since 2006, which is up to $500 rebate for your property taxes if you're a qualifying senior. Qualifying means you qualify under the state law what a senior or disabled person is, which includes income. So if you're a wealthy senior, you wouldn't qualify under this definition. So Heather, could you talk a little bit about why this person may have only received $483.17?
Yes, Mayor, you're right. It has to do with your taxes. So we get that list every year from the county. So not only do you have to qualify underneath those designations, but you actually have to file for those exemptions at Lake County. And then we receive the list from the county auditor's office, and we distribute the payments up to $500 in that rebate check to the seniors who are eligible. So if you are not on that list, or if you've not filed a deduction, or you have it and you think we missed you, just give us a call at the controller's office. We can look it up for you, but then you do have to file it at Lake County, and it was probably a change in your taxes this year that changed the amount that you were eligible for.
Thank you.
And they went out 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Right.
So
We
you
get
should have received them already. If you think you should have one and you don't have it, give us a call. We can look you up.
We get the nicest letters every year from the seniors that get these checks. You know, a lot of kids go to college bound, they don't send letters, but seniors, every year, I tell you, we get 20 or 30 just really nice letters. It makes me feel good as a mayor. I know the council feels the same way. This program costs the city of Hammond about $1 million a year to do this, and it started because if you remember back in 06, 07, our property tax bills skyrocketed when we underwent the new system, and people were literally losing their homes because they couldn't cover their tax payments anymore. And we really were worried about our seniors, and you know, seniors that have lived in that home for 40, 50 years, all of a sudden their tax bills are so high they can't pay them anymore. That's where this idea was born. If I remember correctly, this came before College Bound, right? You were chief of staff then, right? Before College Bound. This was the first. And then we toyed, interestingly enough, Hammond was one of the first cities, I think we were the first city in Indiana to have a circuit breaker. At that time, I think we were given rebates on the circuit breaker also, which...
The idea of the 500 came from the...
Right. And so we did that before the state had circuit breaker. So we were out first. When I first took over as mayor, that was my first emergency, was I had no honeymoon. Your tax bill like quadrupled within my first 2 weeks in office. And it was like, there was no honeymoon. It was instant crisis from the moment I walked into City Hall. So we came up with ideas about the tax law, circuit breaker, which was adopted by the state of Indiana, so we did pretty well there, and the senior and disabled credit, which we piggybacked off a state idea. They give seniors these exemptions on their homes. We piggyback off that exemption, and we give you $500 on top of it, or up to. So it's a great program. I love it. The council supports us every year when we put in for it, so I want to thank the council people in here as well. Can we give them a big round of applause for the support of that? All right, let's go ahead.
Okay, Mayor. I had an electrical fire at my house on October 24th. I did not have insurance and I can't live there anymore. My councilman, Mr. Higgs, offered me no help. After November 3rd, I will be homeless and I was hoping someone could point me in the right direction for help. I also got a violation today from Animal Control saying that I need to prove that I haven't abandoned my dogs. I take them food and water daily.
Okay, so we have a family that lost their house in a fire. We have, I want Carmen to be able to say something about this, and it sounds to me like we have an animal control issue that I'll make sure the chief is aware of, and maybe you could provide a little input as well, chief. The animal control is under the control of the Hammond Police Department, so that's why I would want the chief of police involved in that one. I want to point out that, you know, it seemed to me that this person was frustrated with their council person. I've been in situations like this. It's tough, even as mayor or as a council person, it's tough when somebody loses their home. I mean, there's really not a lot of options for us. You know, everybody wants to go front of the line on waiting lists and stuff like that. You know, a lot of times these waiting lists are monitored by the federal government, and if we prioritize and put people and take cuts, you know, we can get in trouble, and I'm not going to get in trouble. I have 4 kids. So anyway, we'll go ahead and talk to Carmen.
Yes, Mayor, and just as you were mentioning, we do have the waiting list, which is by federal regulations. We do have to put the people on the list, and as the people are drawn from the list, that's how they get called up on the list, whether it's for the Housing Choice Voucher Program or a tax credit property or anything that we have here in the city of Hammond. Even though we don't have any emergency housing or any emergency way to assist anybody with housing at the moment, whoever needs the assistance is more than welcome to talk to me. Maybe I can talk to you about it, or maybe we can get you some shelter assistance or something in the immediate time.
What
But
about
again,
township? We have options with that as well.
Township is a good resource. Township is good for helping,
But
so
it's-
is Greater Hammond.
Okay, so, ma'am, do you want to go ahead and say something? Donna? Or, yeah, we serve it. I'm not sure. I think they might be right behind you. Donna, could you run over with the microphone?
Where am I going?
I think the young lady right behind Ray. That's the man. Hi, ma'am.
Okay. Hello. I'm nervous. Okay. I didn't want my councilman to put me at the top of a list. I asked him where I should go for help. He just says, yeah, I don't know of anything. Contact the township. You know, and I just wanted to know where to look for help. I didn't want to jump to the head of any line. And I reached out to Councilwoman at large, Janet, I'm going to say your name wrong, Vanessa, and she was nice enough to tell me to contact animal control about my pets. And she also said that there was a church I could ask for help. And I just wanted to thank her for being nice enough to respond. Okay, and I did go through township, and the Red Cross came out that night to help me. And I was just, you know, housing. I was just wondering. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Mark?
A couple ideas. If housing becomes an issue, the Hammond Baptists run a shelter at night where you can come in about 6 or 7 in the evening and sleep there and then leave about 7 a.m. So at least for nights, there's a place to stay if you need it. St. Joe's in downtown Hammond offers a hot lunch, a soup kitchen every day, Monday through Friday from noon to about 1:30. It's really a good meal. It's a hot meal. I think there's another one on Seoul that I think a church runs. The name of it escapes me right now. And Hammond just recently, I think on one of my packets, has a new resource booklet with names and numbers and addresses of resources in Hammond and Lake County. I don't know who gave that to us, but that might be a book that you need to have some numbers and resources to call and see if you're eligible for anything.
Thanks, Councilman.
I was the one that passed out the book, and I do have some additional information. If I can talk to you after the meeting, maybe I can give you a little bit more assistance.
Thank you,
through
Awana.
Community development.
Awana is the head of community development, so ma'am, would you please see Awana after the meeting, and we'll see if we can do something to help you. And then, Chief, could you jump a little bit on the on the animal control issue and make sure that they're aware of this temporary situation involving this family?
Yeah, what's the address?
I'll get it to you, Chief.
Okay, so we don't have to do it over there. That sounds great. We'll make sure animal control is aware of your situation. Is it dogs or? Okay, and I would hate to see something happen to those dogs. I understand what you're saying. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry about your situation. Hopefully, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and do the next question. Thank
Okay,
you for
Mayor,
jumping in,
does
Awana.
Hammond have any areas for small businesses such as landscapers to rent or lease that is secure?
Ann? That is Ann Anderson. She's the Director of Economic Development.
Hi. Yeah, Economic Development Department. I can give you our number. I can give you my card. We have a list of available properties in Hammond, both owned by the city and by other commercial realtors or private people, so we can take a look for you and assist you with that. No problem.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How many questions do we have left?
We have 3.
Nice. If you guys want to keep it going, let's go to the back of the room, fill out more questions. In the meantime, I'm going to have Awana talk about upcoming event we have, volunteers coming up this week. Could you talk a little bit about that, invite the public?
Thursday is our 31st annual Volunteer Awards breakfast. Is going to be held at the Dynasty Banquet Hall, 4141 Calumet Avenue, 8 o'clock in the morning. We have a number of volunteers that will be honored, adult volunteer, youth volunteer, adult team, Spirit of Hammond category. So if you would like if you would like to attend, please contact me tomorrow, 853-7330, and we still do have tickets available. Thank you.
Okay, I know one thing that's coming up this week that's the Lear groundbreaking, which is outstanding news for us in Hammond, is there's a lot of stuff going on the boulevard, and this is just off the boulevard, which is right on Michigan and across just south of the East Chicago train station. We're going to be doing a groundbreaking on a $40 to $40 million plant, which is going to expand the assembly line for Lear. It's going to have a bunch of new jobs, retaining the ones we have, expanding more jobs. And the thing about Lear jobs is these are quality jobs, you know, type of job where you could support a family from. So we were in competition with a lot of communities from Illinois all across Northwest Indiana to land that plant, and I didn't think we were going to get it for the longest time. I literally, for about a year of my life, I was getting gray hair, trying to figure out how I was going to explain it to you all that we didn't get the plant. Not because we weren't great, not because they didn't want to be here. I didn't think we had the property. You know, we needed a certain amount of acreage, and I didn't think we were going to be able to satisfy Lear's demands. I just want to say kudos to the Economic Development Department, Ann, Africa, Phil, who was there at the time. Juan, where are you at? Juan also is part of this department. They do a great job in retaining businesses and bringing new businesses to the city of Hammond, and the Lear groundbreaking is a special moment for all of us, so congratulations. Let's give them a big round of applause. That is technically in the 3rd district. I know it's funny, you know, because 3rd district actually wraps around all the way over here in Hessville, but that's a big project for the 3rd district, which is nice. So, all right, go ahead, Donna.
Mayor, are there any possible new developments in the vacant properties at 165th and Kennedy and 169th and Kennedy?
65th Kennedy, 69th.
65th was the former
Right.
Brothers 2.
Yeah. Oh, okay, just that.
69th was a car wash.
Right. The car wash is a tough piece of property to develop. I mean, it's a triangle, and it's got an active rail line right behind it. If I could do things over again, I wish the Jimmy John's would have gone to that corner space, because the Jimmy John's would have been big enough and small enough to fit there. We have the Jimmy John's where it is. I'm happy to have it here, don't get me wrong. It's tough to develop that triangle. Councilman Rakos and I have been working together on this. I think we came up with something that's feasible. I'm not sure if we got the money to make it happen, but it's some sort of a monument, something that's visual, not necessarily a business, just something that's pretty and nice, and something that, you know, we drive by and it adds, but it's a tough piece of property to develop, and we don't want to see a car wash there again. So I think that Councilman Rakos and I are both on this. I think between the two of us, hopefully we can come up with some type of idea that you guys want to see in Hessville as, you know, the grand entrance to the Hessville business community.
Mayor?
Yeah.
And also 165th and Kennedy Avenue is owned by the Redevelopment Commission. We have a developer well, not a developer, a real estate agent that is actively marketing that property, and there has been some interest at this point concerning that property. The other property that was discussed is privately owned, and we are trying to work with the developer regarding development in that area, but it is privately owned, so we only have so much control
Right.
in certain areas like that.
Gotcha. So, anyway, yes, sir.
On that particular property on 169th and Kennedy,
Mm-hmm.
as if a railroad has decided to use it as a dumping ground for old tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, I know when they did their project, they dumped, the tie's still there? Okay. All right. Jaime, could you do something? See if, dealing with the railroads is like dealing with the United Nations. Okay? They really don't respect us. I know they did that when when they had it all shut down. I figured they'd probably cleaned it up by now. I apologize. But I imagine it's probably within their right of way too, if I had to guess. I don't think they would throw it on our property, but
Yeah, it is on their right of way, and like the mayor said, the railroads are a real pain. As far as them responding, for one, but it's all around the city. If anyone drives down Calumet or Seoul, wherever they redid the tracks, you'll see it right next to it. They leave the remnants of what they repaired. So,
hey, Jaime, I got an idea. Why don't we do this? Why don't you take pictures of all these
oh
dumping
yes,
areas?
we have pictures, Jeff.
And we'll do a strongly worded letter with pictures, okay? And they'll probably throw it in the garbage, but it'll be a good letter, and it'll have pictures, and we'll ask them. And it's frustrating when you talk to the railroads, because you're like, hey, you guys go right through a neighborhood, why can't you, make it nicer? Why can't you not blare the horn at 2 o'clock in the morning? And they say, you shouldn't have built your city around our railroads. That's how they feel. It's like, hey, we were here first, buddy. You built your city right around us. So that's what we're dealing with, okay? But I appreciate you bringing it up. We'll follow it up, and I'll send them a letter, okay? Thank you. All right.
Mayor, are there any plans with the historic vacant library on the corner of Martha and Alabama?
Africa? Phil, being the Hessville boy, we'll let Phil answer this one.
Well, and
You probably studied there a lot.
I used to go there a lot with my mom when I was young. I spent a lot of my time at that library, so I'm sure a lot of people here did.
That's why I wanted you to answer the question.
Thank you, Mayor. And part of the reason I actually started this process prior to switching positions as well. We've been looking at a lot of different things for the library over the last couple of years. Unfortunately, nothing ever came to fruition, and the building itself has significant issues. So we had somebody go out and take a look at what the cost would be to renovate it, bring it up to code so that it could be operating again. And it was somewhere in the $110,000 range, something like that. So what we decided to do is we're actually going to do a request for proposals. So it's going to go out, it's going to go in the newspaper for 2 weeks. It's going to be open to anybody and everybody. There's going to be a purchase price, and it will be as is for the property. So if somebody wants to purchase it, and knowing that there's going to be quite a few renovations that are going to be needed, this will be your opportunity to do it. So it will be in the newspaper soon, and hopefully we'll get some folks that are interested. We have had some phone calls. The problem is when they find out how much work is needed, sometimes they disappear. But hopefully something will come of it.
Thank you, Phil. Any follow-up on that? Thank you.
Mayor, can you talk about the progress of the sports center next to Carson's?
It makes Carson's look small. How about that? Yeah. Carson's is like, wow, I have a new neighbor. We believe this is the answer for that part of the city. Is we need traffic, we need people that are looking for places to go. I can tell you, as a AAA baseball, I don't know where that came from. I'm a travel baseball coach, and when we go to these tournaments, there's hundreds of families waiting to play, just got done playing, or playing. Grandparents, moms and dads, brothers and sisters. And we took 3 sports that are huge in the travel. We took volleyball, we took basketball, and soccer, and we put it in an indoor facility, and it's one of the bigger facilities in the state of Indiana, what's going to be done. There's going to be 2 indoor soccer fields on one side, the south side, and then on the north side, there's going to be 6 volleyball or basketball courts. They could be used interchangeably. We could hold massive tournaments at this complex. You could have a soccer tournament on one side and a volleyball tournament on the other side. You could have a basketball tournament and soccer, but there's also going to be a walking track above. How far is it around? Yeah, that's what I thought too. A quarter mile, which is pretty big for an elevated walking track. And then it's something, we see this facility Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday being used extensively by the local community. I imagine we're gonna have people from other communities that wanna use it as well. Maybe there's like adult soccer leagues going on in there. Maybe there's adult basketball leagues or adult volleyball leagues going on. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll see a bunch of out-of-towners going to our restaurants, going to our hotels, staying the weekend in Hammond, because that's where they're playing. This is gonna be big for us. It's gonna be open in 1 year. It's under construction. If you haven't been that way, go over there. You'll know what we're talking about as soon as you drive by it. It's, I've seen it, a city in central Indiana named Westfield. They sold their water utility for like $50 million. And they spent all their money on this idea. They built like 27 baseball fields. Little kids, there's baseball fields for 8-year-olds, there's baseball fields for 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 27 baseball fields, a bunch of soccer fields, and that's how it started. Now you go there, and they have indoor basketball facilities that are massive, way bigger than what we're building. A soccer field, like I think 2 full indoor soccer fields. They're outdoor, indoor, right? They built their city off of amateur sports, and it's working. I went over there just about 3 weeks ago. I usually try to swing through there if I'm going to Indianapolis just to see. It's amazing. It's like a new city being built. Hotels, new restaurants, new CVS, new everything. It's like people are there. They're going to restaurants. And you're crazy if you can't open a restaurant and make it work in this neighborhood. There's hundreds and hundreds of families there. So we're thinking, how do we get people to go back to the old Wilmar Mall in that area? Carson's doing fine, but they pay hardly any rent. They do pretty well. I want to challenge that whole area, and I think this is the answer. I really do. We're betting a lot of money on it. Who's paying for it? Federal government's paying for most of it. We have Section 108 loans that we've been saving up since I took over as mayor, and a piggy bank. And how much was that total amount? How much? 8.6 million and 108. And then the rest of it's being made up through TIF and stuff like that? Okay. So about 10 million from the federal and about 10 million local money. Is that about accurate? This is a big bet for us, but I think it's going to pay off. I hope it pays off because it's a big bet for us. And I can't blow too much, but we have a major developer that's looking in that area right now. Major. Person that's already made money doing this type of stuff, and he is bullish on that area. He's like, he wants to be part of it. Okay? I'm excited about what this person brings to the table concerning the old Walmart and what could happen with old Walmart, with what we now call Carson's, where it is. If I was like a hamburger place, or if I was like a sandwich place, like the Subway, there's gonna be lines out the door of kids waiting to get sandwiches at that place during the tournaments. So I'm excited about it. It's doing really well as far as their construction. There's 2 big projects going on in the city of Hammond right now, and this one is kicking butt compared to the other one that's going on in Robertsdale. But this one is doing well. The walls are up. You can see how massive it's going to be. It's something that's quite exciting. Mark, do you have anything? Am I missing anything? You always do the park project so well.
There, a little bit, I think there's some, the impression of once it was done, a lot of utility work was being done, so it didn't look like there was a lot of action going on out there. But the walls are solid concrete. They came in solid panels, and it went up within, a week. And the impression is that there's kind of the soccer box, if you will, and the basketball/volleyball box. They will be connected. It will be one building. I think there's been an impression that there's going to be 3 different buildings there, but it is one massive building.
The common building between them is going to be...
That's going to be the smallest part. That'll have all the general service areas, your concessions, your washrooms, offices. There's a community room in there as well, so we'll be able to have a lot of those activities in the middle area. That'll be the main entrance point in between the 2 big boxes that you see that are really going up now.
Okay, I want you to talk about, before we leave, I want you to talk about the senior... at Pulaski Park, the senior group is getting together. But I want Mylan to talk about another big project that's going on in Robertsdale right now. If you're driving north on Calumet on a regular basis, we have a project we call the Connectivity Project. It has a lot of a lot of different elements into it. One of my favorite parts is there's a bridge that's going to be going over Calumet Avenue that connects up to George Lake Trails, which are over by the Lost Marsh, to basically the Wolf Lake Trails, which is over where we have the fest in Wolf Lake. We have a bridge that's going to connect those two projects together. And on the north side of that bridge is going to be a bowl that's going to go down into the venue that we have over there. And it's going to be laid out like a venue when this is all done. So when you go to the concerts there, it's going to be something like you'd see in Chicago, where you walk into an event, there's a secure entrance and a secure exit, and there's like a bowl that you could sit on and watch the shows. This project's going on right now. I know Mylan's been working hard on it. I know he's been a little frustrated because it seems like this project got off to not a roaring start. And this project has a strict deadline, Festival of the Lakes 2018. And I know Mylan's been really pushing to make sure this project goes well, but.
Sure, Mayor. Lots of pressure to get it done before.
Public pressure too. I'm talking about it publicly, so.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Ed, I'm going to need
Mylan
help.
had no gray hair when he started this job. That's a great.
Now gray hair and a gray beard. So here we go. Mayor's right. It's more than just a bridge and a connectivity of the trails. It's an enhancement of Wolf Lake Park. It's a continuation of taking the pavilion site and turning it into an event location, a venue, a place that we're going to be very proud of to host many events, as we do already Festival of the Lakes and some concerts we have during the summer. And the expansion of that park also to the south, we're going to bring in a lot more parking on some hard surface that's necessary and needed. And something else that's real important to this project, and that's why I mentioned Ed Cruza, but there's water lines that run down Old Sheffield, down Calumet Avenue, and some real old water lines. Ed, almost, 80 years old, right from the beginning of the water department. And a lot of these lines are going to be replaced. So it's crucial to the city of Hammond, it's crucial to water that we all use, and it's crucial to water that we sell as a city to our neighbors and other communities. So these water lines will be replaced, some of the mains will be replaced in that area as well. And yes, we are under a timeline, and it didn't get off to a roaring start. I was very frustrated the first 6 weeks, but we're getting closer, Mayor, we're getting closer.
Thanks, Mylan, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I got Facebook questions galore coming in. I don't know about this. Hey, could you talk about the senior meeting group that's going to go on at Pulaski Park, please, Mark?
Absolutely. We're starting the community center at Pulaski Park, which is at 137th and Sheffield, just a little bit west of that. They're going to have an open house. So there's a group of seniors from the community who are beginning up an activity there. It's going to be on November 9th, 14th, and 16th. These are Tuesdays and Thursdays. So November 9th is actually a Thursday, followed by the following Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's basically an open house. Come see, get involved. It's the seniors are putting on these own activities themselves. There's going to be no cost. Come there, get involved. We have a main core of them who are leading this, and they're gonna take any kind of suggestions that people want to see there within that type of facility and try and help facilitate that in the months to come and hopefully years to come as we can have those things out there.
Hey, Mark, could we make sure we get that on the mayor's radio show script?
Yes, yes, it will be for sure. Okay. And also, can I just give a quick plug? This coming Saturday at Gene Shepherd Center is the indoor garage sale from 10 to 3 as well. Very popular.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I got a couple questions. I'll come back to you, okay, Donna? First question, Mayor, why did you change the date of Mayor's Night Out this month? Truthfully, Mayor's Night Out was set on the same day the Cubs were supposed to be in the World Series. So I jinxed them when I changed it. I saw that coming. I'm like, Cubs are going to be in the World Series, and we have Mayor's Night Out on the home date. That's not going to work, so we changed it. I'm glad you're all here. It's a great Mayor's Night Out, but I was anticipating 2016 over again. I jinxed us, okay? Donna, go ahead with your question. I have two more over here.
Okay, this goes back to the railroad cleaning up their messes question. For 3 years, I've been trying to contact the Norfolk Railroad about the continued debris of their old tracks and railroad ties, concrete, etc., between 173rd and Parish and Grand Avenue next to the Greenbrier Apartments.
We'll just forward that one to Jaime. It's the same question. the same type of issue we'll hit them with.
Okay, the second part is,
Chris,
can any,
Attorney Cantar does awesome letters like this. So we'll have Attorney Cantar do the letter, we'll have the pictures, and we'll put it over my signature. Hopefully they're not watching right now. They're going to realize. I know. But it'll be nice. We'll do it. But seriously, that's our job. But you have to realize when we're dealing with the railroads, they literally probably just crumble them up and throw them in the garbage. But we'll do it anyway. So.
can anything be done about the woods that are overgrown onto the street at 7100 block of Kentucky?
7100 block, Kentucky. Okay. Mind me what you think? I can't picture it.
7100 Kentucky, is that where that Peller Park sign is, owned by Purdue? Okay, so that's either Purdue's property or city property. I'd have to find out. So if it is Purdue's property, then we'll get a hold of them and see if they can cut that stuff down. So is it just at that corner, or?
It says the whole block, Heim.
Okay, all right, we'll take a look at it.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Amy. We'll forward that one. Jake, could you zoom in on this? This is what we were just talking about, senior center open house. So, by the way, there's over 50 viewers online right now. This is great. New record. Thank you. And I think most of them are firing questions to me right now. Hi, Mr. Mayor. With snow season approaching, good. Ready, Joey? With snow season approaching, my question is, why can't we drop our city plows on the state-controlled streets like Calumet Avenue? Because let's face it, the state is not nearly as on the ball as our city plow drivers. That's a great question. Thank you. I agree. But I mean, I agree that our city plow drivers are great. Why can't we just drop our plows? Right. If something happened, which happens sometimes, right? Like your plows kick back up into the truck sometimes and damage the truck, right?
The number one would be insurance purposes. I mean, if we were to get in an accident, somebody seriously hurt, that would cost the city enormous amount of money.
I'll check to see if anybody else is on watching live.
Oh yeah, it's probably you guys that are all.
That's what it.
So every one of us is
I
probably
just
on it
clicked
right
on,
now.
that was number 16.
Yeah. Chris, did you hear the question about?
Yeah, no, I was listening.
Why couldn't, like, they're like, hey, you have to drive, let's say I leave the complex on Conkey, I take a left on Calumet, and I'm driving all the way up to Robertsdale. Why can't I just drop my plow and do Calumet on the way?
It's the exact same reason he said. It's the same reason we can't go up on the railroad property and do something. It's the same reason we can't go into, the Strachan Van Til's parking lot and plow there while we're at it. It's not our property, so if we hit something or somebody gets hurt,
Which happens.
which happens quite a bit.
Winter snow plowing, a lot of our litigation in the city comes from that. We clip a car,
Correct.
we throw a rock into a car, you get into a wreck.
Yeah,
Right, Joey?
we take off somebody's.
lot of them.
We
Yeah.
we take off somebody's wing mirror, we bump
Right.
into something, or one
A
of
lot of our litigation comes from snow plowing, so if we did it,
we
although-
weren't supposed to be there anyway.
Right. I know it's frustrating, and when we get these crazy snowstorms, this literally the worst time ever to be the mayor is when it snows. I hate it. I know I'm going to get my butt kicked. No matter what happens, I know I'm going to get my butt kicked. And I just sort of try to take it with a grain of salt. I think a lot of people support our administration, but if it snows, I'll even get my wife yelling at me. I'm like, gosh, I can't do anything right? So, anyway, Joey, how we doing? Getting ready for snow? Oh, you're passing out the microphone. We getting ready for snowfall? We got full bins?
We're very much ready for it.
Yeah?
Very much ready, yes.
Cool. What about trick-or-treating tomorrow? How we doing on that? You guys are going to be all working,
All the
right?
supervisors are going to be in their district
Yeah?
from 5 to 7.
5 to 7?
Yes.
You're going to be out there with lights on and all
Yes,
that?
we'll all be out there.
Same with you guys, Chief? Extra patrols from 5 to 7? 7:01, lights out.
I'll be in bed.
Okay. He's serious. He has to get up at like 3 in the morning to get to work in time, so. I know. 1 o'clock in the morning, that one finished last night. So, anyway. How we doing?
We have two more.
All right.
This one is, what will happen to the old fire station number 8
Hey,
and
that one was
the
on mine too.
Harding Park Pavilion?
Look at that. We got simultaneous questions. Facebook asked, what are you going to do with the old fire station number 8? Kevin Margraf, the deputy fire chief, Never goes to mayor night out. And when he does, he hardly ever gets questions. So I want to keep him on his toes today. How's it going, Chief?
Well, I think I know what's gonna happen to it, is I believe it's school city property due to the property shift where the new fire station was built. But Africa Tarver may be able to add a little bit more to this question.
Look at that. Calling out. Fellow department heads.
Can you, I think that's correct. So the deal back in the day was that we would trade property with the school city because they own the property where the new fire station is located. So we took ownership of that, and then the school city takes ownership of the older fire station. So what they're gonna do with it is probably up to the school city of Hammond.
Okay. All right. Good answer. All right. Let's do it again.
Great, Mayor. The last one is, hello, Mayor. My name is Chris Mortis.
Hello.
As you know, I'm trying to get the backyard chicken keeping legalized in the city of Hammond. Would you be willing to sign my petition this evening?
I read a really cool article in the paper, Post-Tribune. There's an article about a pig, okay? And it was a great article, all right? It was talking about, we had a pig, we got the pig when it was like a piglet, right? It was really small. And then over the years, I guess pigs are really smart. I didn't know that. Okay, I'm learning these things about chickens and pigs and bees, okay? Pigs are really cute and they're really smart. They're sort of like a big dog, but they don't stop growing. And then eventually pigs become 300 pounds, like this pig in Hobart, all right? And this is like a family pet. However, it's against city ordinance in Hobart. So everything's fine until one day the pig has a bad day and it smells. And a neighbor turns in the neighbors and he says, that guy's got a pig on his property. And then you put the city in an awkward spot. Because the ordinance says you're not supposed to have pigs, even if they're cute pigs, even if they're smart pigs, even if they've been with you since the beginning of life. You're not supposed to have them. So the big bad city in Hobart has to do what the law says, which is you have to get rid of this pig. And it made the news, and it's super sad, and I'm sure Mayor Snedeker is getting beat up right now because the city's the big mean city, kicking poor little piglet out, right? Well, big piglet in this case, it's 300 pounds. What's that? No. But it's like, you cannot. But I'm going to tell you something. This gentleman, and then I have a friend of mine that has chickens also. His chickens were eaten by a hawk. I didn't even know we had all this wildlife in Hammond until I became mayor. But so, let's say this. A friend of mine has a chicken in his yard, and I'm the mayor. And I know it's not illegal. I know it's not legal, but am I going to send Chief Doty and the SWAT team over there? No. What I do is I say, la, 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 right? If your neighbors are cool with it, I'm cool with it. And I realize that we have some ordinances that are unrealistic, like burning, right? What does the burning ordinance say?
Well, yeah, the burning ordinance is sort of like the infield fly rule. It takes me a second to explain it. You are allowed to burn clean wood, which means no garbage, no refuse, no treated wood, no painted wood, as long as the smoke is contained to your property. And there's runners on first and second, or first, second, and third.
Right. So my little son Patrick he's probably a pyromaniac, but he does like his little bonfires in the back. So he lights his bonfire, and I see the smoke going into my neighbor's yard. I'm just like, we're violating an ordinance, and I'm the mayor, right? So my moral to the story, why I'm telling you all these crazy stories about pigs and fires and chickens. If your neighbors don't complain, you're really not going to have a problem with the city, okay? If your neighbors complain, it becomes our problem. If your neighbors turn you in, it becomes our problem, just like what happened in Hobart, all right? The neighbors were fine with it when it was a pig this big. When it's a 300-pound pig and it smells like a 300-pound pig, it became the city's problem. So this gentleman's doing a great thing. He's going around trying to convince his neighbors in his community that this is something we should consider in Hammond, and I'm listening, okay? I think this is a tougher sell than the bees were. The bees became an ordinance, due in large part. I mean, you were the driving force, right, Chris, right? You were the driving force behind the bee ordinance, right? You were the buzz behind the bees. You want to say something about chickens? Serious?
Give you more credit than I think.
Well,
You and Janet more credit than I would take on that.
I like to see what you're doing as a mayor. That's how it's supposed to work. I don't get mad. I don't get threatened. Even if chickens were legal, I probably wouldn't have one. I wouldn't know what to do with it, right? Okay, I do like chicken, but but like what I'm saying is, and I'm not anti-chicken ordinance, and I don't know if I'm pro-chicken ordinance. I'm listening, and I think you're doing a good job. And you know what? Since the bee petition to ordinance and the chicken petition, I've seen a lot more petitions lately. Pulaski Park Neighborhood Association did a 600-person petition, Councilman Mark, on the pools, which was impressive petition, 600 people. I've seen petitions coming out of the 3rd District. So I think what you're doing, Chris, is a good thing, and I am in listening mode. And I want to point out to everybody, ordinances start with the city council. We got to get a council person to sponsor it, and Janet's giving me dagger eyes right now. You sponsor the ordinance and you second it, and if it passes the council, then it becomes my problem and I got to worry about it, right? I am open-minded to this idea. I've heard people like Chris that are pro, and I've heard people that said, you want to have chickens, move to Lowell or something like that. I've heard that side of the argument also. So, Chris?
So I just wanted to comment. It's a thing of principle, right? There's something that's illegal, which probably shouldn't be illegal because there's no justification for it. So it's not a matter of, I don't know how to put it. If my neighbors are okay with it and they just turn their head, then the law still stays where it's at.
But
So
your
it's like-
neighbors may be cool with chickens.
But who's to say that the next guy who
Right.
sees the joy in keeping chickens and having fresh eggs, that his neighbor is going to turn away and say, you know, oh, it's okay.
Right.
If they get a complaint,
Right.
then they've got to go to City Hall. And
Right.
how many times can City
I
Hall
know.
have people coming in to, you know, for the same violation?
How many people do you have on your petition right now, Chris?
200.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
a good
it's off to
petition.
a good start. I
It
haven't
is
had
off to a good
time.
start.
What's that?
It is off to a good start.
Mayor, we did a study when this issue first came up. Lake County requires you to have an acre if you want to have a goat or a pig or something like along those lines. So we had Becky McKinley, who's actually just absolutely brilliant, do a study of all the Hammond properties. There are 41 residential properties in Hammond that have an acre, and there's 154 that have half an acre. So there's a total of 191 people out of 30,000 households that have a lot size sufficient for, you know, domesticated animals. The problem is we do have a lot of people who have 25-foot lots. And when you have 25-foot lots, everybody's kind of on top of each other, and you throw a few chickens in the mix,
Right.
and then we're going to get a lot of complaints. I do not want to.
I encourage you to do a little research on other municipalities, other major cities. The city of Chicago, it's legal to have goats. There's a place on the west side of Chicago where a guy's got a dozen goats in his backyard. You know what I mean?
I had a friend with a goat in Indianapolis.
There's major cities across the country that have legalized chicken keeping over
I
the
know.
last several years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just like the beef.
No, I mean,
and
I suppose the better way of putting it was, it's not us you have to convince, you have to convince the people who don't even want anybody to be able to fire pit.
Yeah.
You know, you have to convince the people who doesn't want anybody to have more than one car. You have to convince the people that, you know, say if you have more than 2 dogs, it's too much. We have to accommodate everybody's interests, not just the chickens.
That's why. I'm sorry.
I'd first like to say that I really like Chris, is it Cantar? Did I say that right? Yeah. I think she's worth coming out for every mayor's night out. So if I came out, I fear that I came out kind of like attacking you with my last statement, so I don't
No,
want
don't worry about it. Believe me, I've been called much worse. But that was practically playful.
And in response to what Chris said, that's why I keep coming out, right? Because I know that the people in this room care about the community. I know that these are the type of people who would sign a petition. I know that these are the type of people who would share that petition with their neighbors and their friends. So
I'm in open-minded mode. I am. I want to see how the neighbors feel about this. I know if my neighbors had chickens, I wouldn't care. As long as they didn't like wake me up, you know, at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, you know. Share the eggs, right?
The woman sitting here in front of me asked if there is a maximum number of chickens that would be legalized. Oh, she's.
No, I
signatures.
think 200 is solid. The more you get. The biggest petition I've seen since I was mayor was Councilman Marks. Actually, I think there was one early in my administration that was bigger. I almost got beat on that petition, by the way. We don't talk about that. It's like a dark spot in my mind. But Councilman Marks' petition of 600 that's a big number. So, and I'm not saying 200 is not. That's solid. I just think, and then you got to, this all starts with the city council, and I'm totally not trying to throw my colleagues on the city council under the bus. It has to start there. I can't start it myself. And I'm open-minded, I really am. I saw you in the newspaper with your chicken. You're flaunting the law, right, on the newspaper. But I'm not calling.
I got to put you on the spot. The original question is, though, you are a citizen of the city.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to sign the petition?
I'll sign your petition.
Thank you.
I will. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Seriously, I think this is a sign of a good community when you got a guy like Chris that's passionate about something. And I got Amy in here also, who is passionate about a park in Hessville, and she coordinated a bunch of volunteers, and they built up that park, and it's stuff like that that's turning the corner for our city. So I'm not threatened by Chris. I may not have a chicken my whole life. I'm not going to have bees in my backyard. They scare me, okay? But this is the kind of stuff that's going to make our city better. So I want to applaud you and say thank you to both you and Amy. Good job. So. Anybody have any announcements we need to announce? Anything coming up in the next couple of weeks? We want to tell the public about? We had a pretty good conversation. Mark wants to talk to you about his park plans. I know that, right? Yeah, of course you do. Veterans Day Parade. Thank you. Yeah. Donna, Veterans Day Parade.
I know.
November 11th.
Yes.
Right,
Flyers for everything are up in the front there, guys.
Right. Down 173rd. And then anything else? What? Yes, this is the last Mayor's Night out of the year. The Christmas parade. Right. Yeah, we had the Christmas parade. That's true. Christmas parade's coming up. So this is the last Mayor's Night out. We're starting next year in the 4th District. We're going to be doing Edison Elementary School January 24th. This doesn't mean it's the last time I'm going to be in public. It's the last time we're going to be on GoHammond TV doing Mayor's Night Out. I want to thank everybody for coming out. For a changed date, this is a great turnout. So thank you for helping make our city great. And I will see you guys in the coming weeks. Thank you. Have a nice night.